Well, those are the parts that I feel that I need to improve on, and probably we all need to improve on. I want to digress a little bit. I'd say in South Africa, particularly, we like to drink beer and we like to braai or barbecue a lot. And I don't see that changing in the near future. You know, when we talk about supplementation and any advice you can give to guys that, and a lot of these guys are carrying the midsection, what kind of advice can you give to these guys? And, you know, in terms of supplements and maybe subtle changes that they can make? Because I don't think not eating meat is going to happen.
No, and there's nothing wrong with eating meat. You just need to eat lean meat. I mean, the best meat to eat is the meat that's hardest to catch.
Sure, good.
You know, I was shooting with some cheetahs earlier this week, as one does.
Yes.
And, you know, they're fed meat, but they have to cut all the fat off because they just literally can't deal with it.
Right.
So nothing wrong with eating meat. Eat lean meat. And I know it does taste brilliant, but it is the crispy stuff, you know, that's not so good because it's higher in antioxidants.
Right.
So we need to up antioxidants. And in the book, I look at the 20 top antioxidants. And some of them are so simple, like cinnamon. You know, it's fantastic.
Cinnamon, remember cinnamon.
Yeah,
it's my breakfast every morning.
Stick cinnamon on your porridge, you know, you're there already, or your cereal.
Sure.
Turmeric, you know, the yellow spice in curry. So eat curries, Thai food, very, very good. Mustard is good. So if you have to have, I was learning Afrikaans yesterday, if you have to have a slap chip.
Slap chips.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, at least have them with mustard.
What's that? Okay,
You know, ups the
And the vinegar?
Well, the vinegar, whatever. You know?
So the mustard, eh?
Dark chocolate is good.
Yes.
Very high antioxidants. Red wine, a little bit of red wine is good.
Okay. What when you say a little bit, is it a glass? Is it 2 glasses a day?
It's yeah, probably a glass a day. What happens, interestingly, and it was true in our survey too, that alcohol is not a big promoter of, not a big predictor of health.
Right.
And in fact, in cardiovascular disease, drinking a small amount of alcohol lowers your risk.
Right, yes.
For Alzheimer's, an abstainer has a higher risk than a light or moderate drinker.
Sure.
For cancer, on the other hand, a lot of alcohol promotes cancer.
Definitely.
So, you know, there's kind of a moderation thing in there somewhere.
Right.
We don't exactly know why. And I think some of it might be that alcohol does relax you. And too many of us are spending too much of our time in this kind of adrenal overload.
Yeah, we definitely
Coffee, sugar, can't relax, alcohol, you know. So you've got to find a way of, you know, pumping energy without having to be permanently in a state of adrenaline.
Something you've got in your book, you've got the star, the 5 points of the star, and we go from hydration, which is drinking enough water. But you've got a couple of things that people might not know too much about, and one is methylation.
Yes. I mean, we've got glycation, which is blood sugar, which we've kind of mentioned.
Yes.
Lipidation is fats.
Fats.
Hydration, drinking water, that's absolutely vital. Oxidation, antioxidants.
Right.
So the only one we haven't touched on actually is called methylation.
Methylation.
Methylation, you know, you have no reason to hear of it, but how on earth does this body and brain make all these things like adrenaline and insulin? And, you know, how does it do it? And if the fire alarm went off right now, in 0.2 of a second, you are pumping adrenaline. How does it make it?
Sure.
And the answer is through a process called methylation. There are 1 billion methylation reactions every couple of seconds. So it's like incredible stuff. And methylation depends on B vitamins.
Right.
And if you don't have enough B vitamins for you, and we are all genetically different, then something in the blood called homocysteine goes up.
And that's not how gay you are. It's carry on, listen.
Okay. Yeah. So if you forget,
my best friend says to me, homocysteine, is that the measure of how gay you are? So that's how little people know about this.
Yeah, and if you can't remember it, this is what you need to measure in your blood, homocysteine.
Okay.
So think of Gay Chapel. You know, go to Lancet Labs, you know, have a shot. It doesn't cost much.
And it's such a simple thing to do.
Find your homocysteine.
What is your homocysteine?
Mine is, well, you're meant to have a homocysteine below 6. That's perfect.
Really?
Okay.
I mean, mine's 8.
7 or 6. Yeah, I mean, that's not bad, but not great yet.
Okay.
I mean, mine's 4.3, which is, you know, the average of a 6-year-old. Yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable.
So you want to get it down. And basically, methylation makes you more connected.
Okay.
So, you know, some days you have good days, some days you have bad days.
Right.
When you get your homocysteine down, you get your blood sugar balanced, you take in the essential fats, you know, you tick all the boxes. You just don't have bad days. You know, it makes you more creative, it improves your memory.
Sure.
And one of the things that we've discovered is that you fall asleep quickly, and I don't just mean after sex, and you wake up, you know, completely alert.
Yeah.
So it's just really about tuning up the body. I mean, we're so interested in, you know, how you tune up your car and all that kind of stuff.
Sure, sure.
But, you know, we need to tune up our bodies and brains. And if you do the right things in your 20s and your 30s, then you're just not going to get, you know, all these diseases. Most people are literally digging their own graves with a knife and fork.
Yeah, in your book you got that little ball that's balancing and kind of teetering on the edge. And that's kind of how I see a lot of people. You know, you think you're healthy, you think you're there, and it just takes one thing to send you over the edge.
Yeah, I mean, that's a new concept. It's called systems-based thinking, where basically you can think of your health as a basin, and you're always within a certain set of parameters. Some days better than others.
Yeah.
And I actually had a ride in a taxi, and the taxi driver, we got talking. He said, "You answer me this, you health expert. My brother John, perfectly healthy all his life, suddenly diabetes."
Because he was never actually perfectly healthy.
Well, no, what happens is that basin of health, which you can think of as your health deposit account, starts to flatten. So you lose your resilience because you lose your methylation, glycation, and so on.
100%.
And eventually that ball can pop out of the basin into a new basin, a relatively stable health. You know, which is called diabetes. And one of the major discoveries in medicine is that how you tip back from ill health to good health requires a lot more nutrients than what you need to maintain it. And that's why, for example, if I have a cold, the amount of vitamin C I need is a gram an hour. If I don't have a cold, a gram a day will do it.
And if you're a smoker?
You need about 50 milligrams per cigarette. So you need to up it. And one of the, you know, the massive myths that exists is, you know, people say you can get all the nutrients you need from a well-balanced diet. Well, I mean, it's true if you want to be in average poor health. If you want to be in great health, it's not true.
Sure.
The next thing they say is if you take these vitamins like vitamin C, you're just making expensive urine. By the way, it always reminds me to drink water. Yeah. You know, because when you drink water, what happens? You know, you pee it out.
100%.
So you're just making watery urine. So should we not drink water?
Sure,
of course not.
Sure.
And in fact, the very fact that it ends up in your urine means it's been absorbed into the blood, it does its work, and then it leaves.
It leaves, yeah.
And the same thing is true with vitamins. So yes, you do get vitamin-enriched urine, but the point is it gets into the blood, it works for about 4 to 5 hours, and then it leaves. And that's why it's much better. I take my multivitamin, etc. I take them twice a day, breakfast and lunch.
And lunch.
You know, if you could bother, you know, split it 3 times a day, but you know, life's too short.
And you also mentioned that taking them 15 minutes after your breakfast.
Well, it doesn't really matter. You know,
it doesn't matter.
Just as long as it's in there with all the food.
Okay, all right, fantastic. Yeah. On this, on the book, I came at it probably relatively healthy.
Go on, tell us what you said.
I was about 68.
Okay, well that's good.
Is that not too bad?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, like I said, I fell short in the.
Yeah, I want to get you up to 80%. And by the way, with the book, but also for anyone, there is an online health check. PatrickHolford.com. Yes. Anyone can go there. Yes. The survey is based on the first 55,000 people who did it. But I have a secret mission. By the way, I didn't tell you, you know, this book is not out anywhere else in the world.
My cheat notes.
And sorry, I said to my publishers, South Africa has been so kind to me. Can we first launch it in South Africa?
I'm amazed by that. I mean, we're such a small little country, and that's fantastic.
It's here as the world first.
Fantastic.
And my secret mission is I want thousands of South Africans to go online, do their health check, find their score. It's entirely free, PatrickHolford.com.
Right.
And
I would really do it. It's really, really worthwhile. You may not want to answer all the questions, but be honest with yourself.
And next year I'll come back and we can do an in-depth, largest ever health and diet survey of South Africans. Okay. And find out really what are the health needs, what are the health concerns, what can we do? Because, you know, you may not be the same as us Brits, you know.
I don't think we are. I don't think we are. We have the whole braaiing thing kind of throws us out. Yes, right. Patrick, thank you very much. If I can tell you that this book will change your life, trust me on that. This is the guru of gurus. Do the test, www.patrickholford.com, and it will change your life. And there are things inside you that actually make you face yourself and face those inner demons. And I'd really do recommend it. Patrick, thank you very much.
Cheers.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you and to meet you. And just by the way, while I've got you on air, you're going to be signing both these books for me, I believe.
Sure.
Thank you very much. The first one and then the latest one.
Okay.
Thank you very much.